I'm just a working class guy that was trying to do something different and be a deer breeder. It's trying to find a balance of trying to be a deer breeder, trying to afford to be a deer breeder, and provide for my family because I don't have another business and I don't have a side hustle. I got to get up and go to work every day to pay the bills, to provide for my wife and my sons, and then come home and try to be a deer breeder. You know, there's no guide that tells you, yeah, you spend money on this, and this. I didn't realize that this was a rich man's game. And if people don't think it's a rich man's game, they're full of shit, because it is. I'm going to try to be the anomaly in this equation.
There was a tragedy at your pen, so do you mind telling us that story?
I get to the farm Saturday morning and I see dogs inside of my pens. You know, I don't have anybody to blame but myself. I didn't fix it as good as it should have been, and it cost me. And it's like, if you ever seen a $200,000 cooler, I can show you one, you know, and I'm sitting at work looking in my rearview mirror, looking at my retirement plan, you know, and it's like, damn, now what? Well, I guess I'll get out and go to work because can't do nothing with that. At that moment, I could have pulled the pin on it. All credit to my wife. She was just, no, we're not doing that. There's too many people that have believed in me doing this to be a quitter. But yeah, I ain't getting out of it. If I can get up at 4 o'clock every morning to build somebody else's dream, I can get up at 3:30 to build mine, damn it. If you never try, you're never going to get there.
Before we get into today's episode, we'd really appreciate it if you take a second to like, subscribe, and share the podcast. Right now, only about 40% of the viewers are subscribed, and it's completely free. Every bit of support helps us continue bringing on great guests, sharing important conversations, and educating more people about this industry. Also, we recently started dedicating social media pages to the Droptine Studios Podcast. Instead of filling our main pages with podcast clips and behind-the-scenes content, we'll be posting all of that on our new Droptine Studios Podcast accounts. So if you want to see sneak peeks, episode clips, behind-the-scenes content, and more educational moments from the podcast, make sure you follow the pages linked below. Now, let's get into today's episode. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for coming back to the Droptine Studios Podcast. Today, we have Jeff Collins on the podcast, and we are going to be talking about whitetail deer breeding, exotic breeding, and what does it truly cost to become a breeder. So, Jeff, thank you for coming into the podcast today.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here. I am super pumped.
Yes, sir.
We've talked about doing this for a long time, and you're busy. I mean, got to keep this place rolling. So I'm excited we were able to finally nail this down and make it happen.
Yeah, I'm excited for you to tell your story because I feel like it's something that people, like we just said right before we started, is you don't know the cost of what you don't know. And so us being able to do this and you sharing your story and being candid, I think is going to help a lot of the listeners.
Yeah, I hope so. Like I said, I've taken a lot of pride and a lot of time and a lot of effort to put our farm together the right way. You know, I'm just a working class guy that was trying to do something different and, you know, be a deer breeder. I love it. I love deer. I love the science. It's kind of like NASCAR. Like, all they do is go around and around, but the science of it is what make NASCAR cool.
Right.
And for me, getting into being a deer breeder and all that, man, it was just looking at pedigrees over and over and over and finding out who's doing what works, what didn't work. And it's like we talk about with whiskey. It's subjective. Just because you like it doesn't mean I have to like it, or vice versa.
Right.
And I think I look at deer the same way. You know, I like this. This is the road that I was choosing to go down. And how can I play mad scientist and afford it to make it work?
Right. So mentioning of affording it, what do you do for your normal job?
So I am a crane and rigging supervisor. So for lack of better terms, I always make the joke, I just pick shit up for a living.
Yeah.
I'm a crane operator by trade. I work for an industrial company where we go into refineries. They basically turn them off. We tear them apart, put them back together. We leave. We go on to the next job. So sometimes I sit in a 4x4 box and watch people work. And sometimes I stand outside and tell them what to do.
Right.
So, but it's a Monday through Sunday, usually the job. So like right now, I'm only on 5 days a week. July 10th, once this runs, we'll go to 7 days a week. And then I work what they call a 13-1 schedule. Work 13 days straight, 1 day off. And we do that continuously until the job is done, 12, 13 hours a day.
Wow.
So it's trying to find a balance of trying to be a deer breeder, trying to afford to be a deer breeder, and provide for my family because I don't have another business and I don't have a side hustle. I got to get up and go to work every day to pay the bills, to provide for my wife and my sons.
Right.
And then come home and try to be a deer breeder.
Absolutely. So what made you choose whitetail?
So about 30 minutes down the road from where my actual farm is at, my family has a hayfields, and we have we call it a hunting farm now, and they've owned it for like 100 years, and nobody ever went. It's my stepdad, but him and my parents have been married for like 20 years, and took us out there one day. I was like, man, this place is great. Nobody comes here, and they're like, no, it's been in our family. I was like, well, I was at work one day, and I just brought up the idea. I was like, well, if I front the bill, can I take care of the hunting? They didn't. Yeah, sure, why not? And so I literally just started protein, feeding, cameras, what you do, and started to grow big, just typical kind of organic deer, no high fence, but the deer didn't go anywhere because I fed full time. And I just started to love it. I loved growing them, the patterns. All right, cool, deer dropping horns in February, March. Let's go shed hunt. Started doing those things, and we started killing good deer. And it got to where I didn't even bring a gun because I didn't want to kill them. I enjoyed too much watching them grow.
Right.
And cool, this deer's 4.5. We're not shooting him. I don't care what you say. He's getting another year. And that just kind of started building. And then like this whole deer breeding, this was my wife's crazy idea. So I have my camper hooked up to my truck. It's running outside. I'm about to go to Corpus Christi for a job. And every married man gets that same. The wife sits you down right before you're about to do something. Hey, we need to talk. What do we need to talk about? I was like, the truck's running. I got 4.5 hours. What we got? She's like, well, look, have you thought about being a deer breeder? No, I haven't. Like, and to her mistake for bringing that up, I sat in my camper for weeks and weeks and weeks and watched Keith Warren's videos, how to be a deer breeder. And everything I could find, how to be a deer breeder. And there are some things that tell you, but not a ton. I mean, and I get what Keith and them do. Keith's great. Met the man, love him to death. Keith's an advocate for what we do. But that's people showing off established facilities.
Right.
You know, I guess I'll buy a farm, try to buy some land, and just research note after note after note. Then started calling people taking my calls, lots of people not taking my calls. And I literally just learned off of YouTube and want to is kind of how all this got started. And then, all right, cool. And then it goes back to, all right, how in the hell are we going to afford this? We had just bought our forever home. Gone. Sold it. Just like that. Sold our forever home. Great. Now we've got 6 figures worth of budget, if you will. And, you know, there's no guide that tells you, yeah, you spend money on this, and this. You know, hey, you're started. Wrong.
Right.
I mean, it was, all right, cool. You know, now we got to find land. Now we got to get said land cleared. How much does that cost? Well, shit, I don't know. I guess we'll have to start calling people. And then there's drainage problems, and that's another headache because you can't have deer standing around in water. And so we didn't know that. So now it's thousands of dollars on trying to figure out, okay, how do we get the water off of our property? And then it's fences. And then in the meantime, I'm still researching pedigrees and what do I want to do. And my brain is going 100 miles an hour. Like I was so far ahead that I was probably behind. I thought I was so far behind, I probably thought I was ahead because I was ready. I mean, I had pedigrees lined up. We were doing it. I didn't even have a fence up yet. And it's real easy to get ahead of yourself doing this. I'm sure, even with your breeding, your brain starts to go on and playing mad scientist on what can I do and do and do. And I'm like, man, I'm a year and a half out from even doing that. And I'm already selling deer and I didn't even have the first one done yet.
Right.
And so it was a lot to try to put together a budget because, the world that I live in, I still got to go work every day. Like I got to figure out, nobody gives you a loan for being a deer breeder. You go to a bank, you want to be a what? The hell is that? And so it's finding people, and I'm very fortunate to have some people in my life that believed in me enough to help financially make this happen.
Right.
And that's kind of where it was going was, all right, cool. Now we find land And we start clearing, and all right, great. Now we got to find fences. Well, how much does that cost? And I don't know if you've priced out fences lately, but they're not giving that away anymore. Like that was high, and it's, then we're still fighting drainage, and I'm still getting fences, and it was raw land, so there's no electricity, there's no sewer, there was no road. Like we made a road to even get to where my land was at or is at. And all the while now we're living in a rent house, and that's another cost, because now you're picking up and moving. Now you've got we sold our forever home to do this. Like, what were we thinking? But at the same time, with my schedule, it was, man, it's got to be worth it. Like I told you before, like a guy told me on a job site one time, like, man, there's more to life than 712s, and it was, but I have to keep doing that. Got to have a job, got to pay the bills. And that's been one of the toughest parts, was to try to figure out, how do I keep providing as a dad and a father and a husband, and try to start a business? And not to sound a sob story, because everybody and their mothers started somewhere. But being a deer breeder, I didn't realize, and I'm not throwing shade at anybody, any stretch of the imagination, but I didn't realize that this was a rich man's game. And if, people don't think it's a rich man's game, they're full of shit, because it is. And then to each his own for it. Like, it's all good. I get it that I'm going to try to be the anomaly in this equation. There's just not a lot of people that are doing it the way I'm doing it that I know of. And if there is, great. Figure out a way to get in touch with me and let me know, because like with the guys like we talk about with Chris at Blessed Bayou, Catlin at Hatata, and Jade MVP, man, them guys have been way better to me than I deserve. Way better to me than I deserve. And they're so gracious to answer my questions, and Shelby will get mad at me. She's like, you don't think you're bothering them? I probably am. But at the same time, there's no guide to this.
Right.
Like, there's not a financial planner that tells you how to do this for a living. And it's been tough. It's been fun. It's been very rewarding, man. I've met some great people, but to get it to this point, and like, we'll get into the tragedy part of it, but it's, it's that old adage, know what you don't know. And when you don't know anything, and also it's hard to relate. And on those guys' end, they're not going to be able to relate to me on a financial level. Because at first, when I was meeting all these people, I'm thinking, like, how in the hell, where did I go wrong in life? Like, these guys are 10 years younger than me, and they're got all this land and all these things. And then I figured out, I'm like, oh, they're the ranch managers. Not that makes it any wrong, but in my head, because I don't know, I'm like, man, these guys are great. They got it made. They're 35 years old, get up working deer all day, going to shows. Like, where did I go wrong in life? And then I realized that wasn't the case. These guys are ranch managers, and they've been there, and I was like, oh, okay. So there is a light. Like, it's not as dire straits as I thought. Like, did I really wait too long to be doing this in my mid 40s? And that's what I explained. I had told my parents one time, we were talking about it. They were like, are you sure? Like, well, if not now, when? When I'm 50?
Right.
When I'm 60? When I've missed their entire lives because I'm working 7 days a week out of town, whatever that is, like, why not now? I mean, at least if it falls on its head, at least I can say I tried.
Right.
And that's kind of the
you still have time to make up for, quote unquote, your mistake if something went wrong.
Right. There's still time. It's early enough and thank God, like, my wife is like, I'm the all brawn and the go-to and the will to, and I'll break my back to do it, and that's fine. But thank God my wife is 10 times smarter than I am. So she takes care of the numbers and the budget and has to reel me in.
Right.
We've only got this much. Like, knock that shit off. Like, oh, okay, cool. Right. I got it.
Yeah, it's funny you say that about there's not a guide. I had an idea years ago, but I've never actually done anything with it. But I own the domain High Fence Hunting Guide. And Yeah, maybe I'll do something with it one day, but currently don't have anything with it. But there's no manual on doing this. And every time that you think, which it is with anything, but if you want to be a dentist, there's millions of dentists out there. If you want to go, be a contractor, there's a lot of contractors out there that can tell you what to buy, what to do, what not to do, how to price it. But now in Texas, there's only 300 deer breeders, somewhere around there.
I think barely.
Yeah.
And that's another.
That's a whole other subject. But when you were doing your research, when you were looking on YouTube and everything else, how long did it take you from just doing research and watching videos before you actually bought your first item, whether that was land or semen or embryos or whatever?
So that's a great question. That's one of the mistakes I made was, like I said, I'll name drop to an extent, but so there's another breeder that's close to me that, this is one of the people I randomly called. I knew where they were at. I'd see the fence. I'm like, oh shit, maybe I'll give them a call. Gave them a call. Seemed to be great people, and everything is what it is. But in my head, I'm like, well, hell, if I go ahead and get some now, I was like, do y'all do babysitting fees? Because I'm on track. Like, we're ready. We're gung ho. We're gonna get land. We have a date. We're gonna get these things done. If I just pay you, I call it a babysitting fee. Like, oh man, we do that all the time. Sweet. Money's just going out. I'm buying exotics, catch a few whitetail. Man, we're ready. I'll pay the babysitting fee for a year. That'll be worth it. I'm a year ahead of the game now.
Right.
And that was a mistake. Like, I shouldn't have done that because, like I said, go back to what you don't know. Well, the land is not getting cleared as fast because Mother Nature has a wild sense of humor. And normally, where we're at, northern Houston, and summers, we're begging for rain. And it couldn't have rained more that first year if I'd have wanted it to. Now, our hay fields were amazing, but it was just rain after rain. And so now it's weeks and months are going by, and there's, you can't use a track hoe, you can't use a dozer.
Right.
And so now the fees are stacking up. Now I'm behind. Now I've got drainage problems. Now I've got to figure out a way to get water off of my property because you can't put fences up in knee-deep water. And so
I think that's the first time we met, at least on the phone, is I think you called me asking about documenting y'all's process.
Yeah.
And then you were just like, man, we can't do anything. It won't stop raining.
Yeah. It was on, it was over and over. And, delays cost money because now I've got equipment sitting there and it's all right, cool. How long do I want that equipment to sit there before I have to pay them to take it and then pay them to bring it back? All the while I've got animals at somebody else's facility that I'm paying for that. And it's real easy to get caught up in the excitement because to me it's very exciting. Like I'm going to typically have to sit on my hands to keep from waving at people. And I like, man, we got animals, studying pedigrees. But I bet, to go back to that, I bet it wasn't 6 months. Like, I was like, because I was on turnaround, we make a pretty good living, and like, all right, cool, we got some extra money. I go ahead and stroke that. We got these animals, these pedigrees, we're ready. Until we weren't. And then
what was the first thing you bought?
I bought 4 fallow and 3 whitetail because I'm a whitetail guy. I'm a whitetail nerd. Like, I love whitetail deer. I can't help it. Especially once I got into the pedigree side of it. Then it got real serious. But my wife, because of and I'm learning at this point still, CWD and all the rules. And that's kind of how a lot of it too was, I don't know if it makes sense or not, but I know they always say when a lot of people are getting out of something, might be a good time to get in it.
Right.
And with so many breeders getting out of it, well, hell, I can do this. I know I can. I was pretty decent at it growing it. I know it's just a deer lease, but it was very secluded. I was keeping and growing a whole deer, and I get it. It's a completely different game, hunting ranch, growing deer versus being a breeder. But to me, it was the science. It was behind them. How can I grow big deer? And that kind of how it all started. But she was like, no, we need to get some exotics because if God willing, you were to get a positive, something were to happen for a small guy, that's a death sentence. Like you can go ahead and kill them all and close the doors. You're not going to survive that.
Right.
So we got exotics, and fallow are great. We've got fallow there now. Just had our first fallow fawn drop a couple of days ago. So that was a relief, and we'll get into what went on a little later. But that was a relief to see life,
right,
and see it survive. So that was a big one. But we bought both. But then it's, like I said, delay, and money is going out. And, now we're trying to, go to shows, try to meet some people. That's where I met Catlin. I had talked to Jade on the phone. He's big, gnarly beard, looked like Gandalf the Great. Call this guy. He's awesome. Call Jade. He was great to me on the phone. Talked to Nash before I knew anybody. Nash was good to me. Jake at Damn Wild, love that guy.
Yeah.
If you don't want to hear the truth, you shouldn't ask Jake anything, because Jake will let it fly. But I love him for that. I love him because he'll let it be known quick. He was great. I met Chris at the same show, and those guys have been good to me. And I mean, hell, I'd go to Chris's office. Like, look, man, if you want to charge me, I understand, but here's my plans. Like, what can you if you have 10 minutes of your time, man, I would appreciate it. If you want to charge me, that's cool. And he would, no, I got a few minutes, and I'd come in and he'd sit down, and he literally designed out my facility for me, for free. Just did me a solid. And so I try to, and we're working some things with some access we got to try to be a good steward and repay him the favors that guys did for me. Because I said, I didn't know anybody.
Right. I
was just the new guy. I just want to get my foot in the door and meet some people and find the right people. And that goes back to what we were talking about with, how you found people. I just would get on the phone, and I had to remember, because of my work schedule, working 7 days a week, most people don't work Saturdays, and I am the world's worst. It's a Saturday. I'm calling people, and they're like, and they don't answer. I'm like, man, you don't want to talk. And then Shelby was like, they don't work on Saturdays, just you. I'm like, oh yeah. So I gotta refrain from calling people on the weekends just because we don't work the same schedule.
Right. Protect your investment, preserve your records, promote responsible wildlife management. The Exotic Wildlife Association Animal Registry is working in conjunction with the Veterinary Genetics Lab at UC Davis. This provides secure, professional record keeping for the exotic wildlife owners and breeders across the country. From documenting pedigrees to ownership to promoting herd management and conservation goals, the EWA Registry is a trusted resource for our industry. Whether you own one animal or manage an entire ranch, the EWA Animal Registry is here to help. Learn more today at myewa.org. That's myewa.org. Spring Creek Outdoors is an all-inclusive habitat and wildlife management company that works with landowners in every ecoregion of Texas. Their biologists have over 55 years of combined experience improving the furred, feathered, and finned resources that have you driving to the ranch each weekend. Macy Ledbetter and the team at Spring Creek Outdoors will save you time, money, and gray hair, and they will help your property maximize its full potential. They may be found on Facebook and on the gram, or at springcreekoutdoors.com. So when you found, I assume that show was TDA or Texas Deer Association. Is that where you saw and met everybody at?
The first one was EWA.
EWA.
So I literally walked up to Cat, because by this point, by that first show, I had, because the breeder that I had gotten from, and I didn't know this, I didn't know, was on his way out the door. I didn't know. When you don't know anybody, you can't find this good information.
Right.
So I was like, man, let's go to the exotic show. And I was like, hey, man, are you going? Nah, we don't really do those anymore. All right, I didn't think much of it. But I'd still been researching, and I had found Hatata. I was like, man, those are great looking, typical whitetail. And then I always thought he had a cool name. When I saw it, I was like, Catlin, what a great name. Never heard that before. And he was literally, I walked right up to him. How you doing? I'm Jeff Collins. I own us just getting started, man. I love your deer. Like, those are great. And so we just started talking, and he's been one of my good friends ever since. And then, Jade they weren't there yet, but I talked to him a few times on the phone. Very gracious. always took time, send me a text back and forth. Went and finally did a ranch visit, but it was that EWA show 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But like I said,
So was that a Google thing too? Like, did you just find EWA through the internet?
Yeah, internet and social media. Like I said, I think the downfall of our society is social media, but it can be a useful tool if you use it the right way.
Right.
But that was the only way. Like I said, there's no pamphlets to do this. It was find these cool ranches, find these deer I like, find these exotics I like, give the guys a call. And it's the trick of it is weeding through what people tell you.
Right.
Because and nobody tried to sell me, hey, look, I got this big, awesome deer. I mean, I kind of knew from the research going in that the does are where it's at. It's the way the way of the world. The women make the world go around, yep. Outside or inside of breeding. And so there was no that, but everybody's going to push their own stuff.
Right.
So you have to weed through that, and you have to weed through you have to take the emotion out of it.
Oh yeah.
And that's hard as hell to do, especially for me being an excitable person, because I'm excited for this. Like, I want to be accepted. I want to, that's kind of why, because our company is called Heavy Metal. And this years ago, just quick backstory. A friend of mine, they were dog breeders, bred those little bullies. And I used to drive to work because I always had like an hour and a half drive, and we would talk and it's like, man, how cool would it be to have deer with or a dog at this point with a name, name it after a really cool band or a song. And then fast forward to all these years later, and she was like, what do you want to name it? I was like, I'm naming it Heavy Metal, Whitetail, and Exotics. I was like, why? Because that's just, so I explained it, music and because I love music. I love how it makes you feel and everything that comes with it. And so that's how this all came about. So we had a name, we had an idea. Now it's time we're going to put this forward. And then it's delay after delay after delay. Out of town working. I can't be there. My wife, fortunately, works from home. She's an accountant, so she has a little bit of free time, but she doesn't know how to be a deer breeder either. Well, hey, I need you to go check on this. Well, what the hell do I know? I don't know. I'm 4 hours away, please. And, then you just have to find a way. And it's still, you're still, this all at the same time, you're trying to weed through everything, provide for your family, figure out a way to get a deer, get it going. I've got animals at other places. I'm freaking out because now there's not a lot of communication there. One day I get a picture, one of your fallow died. Welcome to the deer business. Well, there's that money out the drain I was paying babysitting fees for that is now dead. But I know you've heard it. And they die at your other place's facility. Welcome to the deer business. So that's going on. So now that's compounded. So that's more money down the drain. So
what was it when you were getting in and doing research on this stuff that made you think like breeding whitetail would be a good financial decision?
Because whitetail is king in Texas.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just how it is. I mean, and we all do it, especially as just growing up, oh man, how cool would it be to go hunt one of these deer at one of these high fence ranches and, let me look at the price. Shit, never mind. I'll just stick to my own lease. And I mean, people still are going to pay to kill deer. I mean, it's just where the money's at. People are going to kill deer. People kill deer at record rates in Texas. It's what we do. We love whitetail. We love the horns. You get that old adage, you can't eat them. No, you're right. But you can eat the rest of the deer and the horns.
And you can mount it.
They look really nice on the wall. And it's a story to tell. It's an experience. And that's what I love about it is I started seeing the joy in my son's faces and looking at these pictures like, holy shit, like I could grow big deer naturally. Imagine what I could do if I was a mad scientist this thing and find my own. I always make the joke, I'm not going to reinvent the wheel being a deer breeder, but I'm going to drive a different car. I'm just wired that way. And I was like, man, if I could just do this and this, what could happen? And the lane that I'm trying to stay in, I've gotten very good feedback from it, and it's been very positive. And not a lot of people have seen what I'm trying to do, and so I'm excited for that. And even I've been, as heartbreaking as it's been to watch all these other ranches fawns start dropping, I still haven't seen what I'm trying to do, and so it keeps me excited. Like, all right, it hadn't got out there yet, so I think I can still pull it off. But it was like I said, it was finding the lane that I wanted to be in and the research to find the right people. Like I've still got people that I called that I liked their deer. Never heard back from them. I'm like, that's cool. I mean, I don't want to spend money with you anyway. If you don't want to call me back, I don't want to give you any money.
Right.
So
when the time you bought your first whitetails and exotics till today in June of 2026, how long has this process been? Like 6 months, 2 years, 5 years?
Probably close to 2 years. Probably realistically. Like I said, and that's a big thing for people it's so easy to get excited and to get ahead of yourself. And Lord knows I did. Like I got a little ahead of myself and it cost me financially for it. I mean, we're still working through it and it's fine. Those are, unfortunately some lessons are expensively learned. And that's just the nature of the beast. That's the world we live in. But it's probably been a 2-year process to finally have animals at my place, fences, pins, shops up, power, hopefully, God willing, goes in next week, making it work. But it's been a 2-year process.
So through that 2 years, when was your first deer delivered to your facility?
Couple weeks ago, a couple months ago, maybe for conversation wise, let's just call it a month ago.
Okay.
Where my 10 whitetail were decidedly, that was the first. So go kind of as far as that goes. So talking to Catlin, with CWD and I get it, breeder to breeder, it's basically non-existent now. Catlin gave me the idea. He's like, man, you should buy recips. The hell's a recip? I didn't know. Then I watched your podcast with Davin and Lalo, and I was, holy shit, that's a thing? You can do that? But by that time, I found out what a recip is. And then I saw the podcast, and it was just, what can't we do? This is great. And so I found a breeder that was going out of business, a brown trophy whitetail, Lauren and BJ. They had done it forever. Kids were getting older, called them up. They were gracious to me. Yeah, we've got some recips, or we'll sell you deer. I was like, I just want them as recips. Perfect. I said, but can I leave them there? My facility's not done yet. Sure, I'll pay you a babysitting fee. They were very gracious, do that for me. And that's literally where we did all of our embryo transferring at Brown Trophy Whitetail.
So they're out of the business now? Like they're dissolved?
I am buying their last 4. We'll get to that in a minute. I'm buying their last 4 whitetail they have. They're about to get live tested.
Awesome.
But so basically a month ago, I got 2 years in, I got my first recips in.
So a
month ago,
24 months, busting your ass, disappointed with timelines, finally excited. You get your whitetail in. Well, fawns should be hitting the ground soon, right?
They would have hit the ground June 14th is the technical pregnant date.
All right. So this wasn't the reason that we brought you on to the podcast, right? Like we wanted you to give the good old boy story of deer breeding, but for the viewers who don't know, there was a tragedy at your pen. So do you mind telling us that story?
Absolutely not. And forgive me if I shed a tear because it's tough. For me, it's tough.
Absolutely.
So, we go back to drainage problems. We're fighting drainage. We're trying to get land. So they put in a new pipeline behind my place. I'm surrounded by 300 acre plots. Then my little 15 and a half acres. And they put a pipeline in and they blocked up some of the natural drainage. So now I've got backlog. I can't get the water off. So we're digging trenches. We're coming up with everything to get water out of the pens. And we get it where we like it. We've got culverts going in. I've had to pull up predator wire, restake it down, just as we're trying to fix this place. And I show up. I'm only on 5 days a week right now, so I don't have to work 7 days a week yet. I go Saturday morning. Deer are pregnant, big fat bellies. But part of that is not all these deer are mine. Jade at MVP I wanted to do Jade a favor because they're going through things, and I've always heard from people that the best way to be successful is to help other people be successful. Now, he doesn't need any help being successful. The man's done well for himself. But I was like, well, look, I've got extra space. If you want some of these recips, I can't buy them all. I can't afford them. I can only afford X amount. If you want to, you want some recips, man, take them at my place, put in embryos, and I'll do the same. And he offered, he's like, I'll do the same for you. That way we'll have deer at both places. Man, that's great. So just backstory, half those deer aren't even mine. And I get to the farm Saturday morning and I see dogs inside of my pens. Now, all the gates are locked and I can see deer laid down. I can see some with their heads up. And of course, I'm losing it. So now I'm trying to remember what the code is to even get in the gate to get it unlocked. I get it unlocked. I run. They take off. They just basically they found the weak spot that was gonna get fixed. And it was there, but it wasn't good enough. And I don't have anybody to blame but myself. I didn't fix it as good as it should have been, and it cost me. And so now I'm staring 3 weeks away at 10 dead deer. Well, 8 dead deer. It's Memorial Weekend. Everybody, vets. I mean, I'm calling Dr. Duckworth. I'm calling Catlin. Okay, this wasn't supposed to happen. What the hell do you do now? Like, I don't know what to do. I've got some deer that are still alive. We're trying, and people, they're helping me out. I'm trying to get a hold of people. My buddy Wade, he'll have to forgive me that I've forgotten the ranch that he works at in Huntsville.
Big Y?
Yes. Wade's been great to me. He's like, hey man, I'm on my way. But that's an hour away. Dayton's the only person I can even get a hold of. She graciously, I'm on my way. She's an hour and a half away. So we're figuring out, okay, these deer are still alive. They're still moving. Maybe we can emergency C-section. Hell, I don't know, but whatever. At this point, it's all hands on deck to do whatever we can. They get there. We get some stuff set up. Dayton gets there. It starts to rain. It's funny how, it's not God's fault. It's nobody's fault. It's my own fault. I don't have anybody to blame but myself. But it's funny how, like I said, like Mother Nature has a sense of humor. We're emergency C-section. We get some heavy hitter buck fawns out. Thank God. At least I was able to save something of Jade's. One passes away. God, we got the other one breathing. Thank you, Lord. Like something doesn't make it through the night, and it's just like really. And we didn't get to the other one in time. We just ran out of time. We were so hyper focused on emergency C-sections, trying to make this work, that the other one passed before we could. And then that's on a Saturday, So now call the game warden. I've done everything I need to do. Well, you gotta take the brain stems out. How the hell do you do that? I'm not. She's like, well, you got to do this and this and this. Are you qualified? I didn't even know that was a thing. I thought you just cut it out and call it a day. I didn't know. It's one of those things like know what you don't know. I didn't know you had to be qualified to do that. So, all right, cool. So now it's a mad dash to keep all the heads in a cooler. So now I've got the world's most expensive cooler in Texas. Now I'm going to my hunting farm. My friend that helps me out there was there. Hey man, he knew what was going on by this time. Bring me the biggest cooler we got. So brings me the cooler, get them all on ice. Take the deer to the hunting farm, dispose of them. Sunday, go back out, just start cleaning up to a bunch of empty pens. And so, sorry.
No, you're good.
Handle that, work all day. My parents come, help me out. We work, can to can't. 3:30 rolls around Monday morning, I got to go back to work. And it's just like sitting in my truck, going to work, and I look in the rearview mirror. And so to keep from crying at work, because my bosses know, I told them, they know what I'm trying to do. And so, I mean, they're very supportive. They get it. We're all trying to find a way out of not working 7 days a week anymore. So, to make the joke where we get there and they're like, you good? I'm like, I don't know. If anybody wants to see the most expensive cooler in Texas, it's in the bed of my truck. And it's like, if you ever seen a $200,000 cooler, I can show you one. And I'm sitting at work looking in my rearview mirror, looking at my retirement plan. And it's like, damn. Now what? Well, I guess I'll get out and go to work because I can't do nothing with that. So I'd take off early, go to A&M, get those dropped off, and try to figure out, all right, where do we go from here? It happened. I can't take it back. All I can do is move forward. Where are we at financially? And, now but by this time I have fallow there. I've got some access there that I'm a partner on with Jade and with Brett at BLC. Got exotics. So now I'm crazy hypersensitive because now I didn't have time to think about it. We just got everything fixed. We fixed the weak spots. We took care of everything. Right now I have other animals here again. All right, cool. And so now our first fallow was just born the other day. So it's like, all right, now there's life again. I called Brown, told them what happened. They were obviously very upset for me because they know the struggles, and we're going through it. And I'm actually going to buy their last 4 does they've got for more receps because, like I said, 2 years worth of planning, and it's not even for me. Yeah, the money is a giant ordeal. It really is. And it would be for anybody, no matter your financial status. But for me, it was just like, man, I spent 2 years researching, like finding the right path that I want to go down for it to just get snatched over. And to make it worse, we're standing there, it's raining, and the dogs had gone. And I've never seen dogs at my facility, ever. They'd gone. By this time, I've got a gun there. One comes back. I look up, and I can see it all the way through the other side of the pen. I was like, oh, you brave son of a bitch. So, needless to say, me and him had a conversation.
Yeah.
So, we don't have to worry about him no more.
Good.
Yeah, we took care of that. But it was just like all this time, all this effort, all this money, heartache, arguments, and when you're starting a business, there's no way you and your wife got along the entire time all this was coming to fruition. And so you're figuring out like how to keep your family life in check, how you're going to provide all these things, and for it to just get snatched away it's better now, but that first few days and then having to go back to my normal job was wild. Like, it was a wild feeling.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask is so to go back to when that happens, like it would be emotional, I think, for anybody at any point, right? But like your first whitetail, your first about to be fawn crop, 2 years in the making. Like you said, you're an excitable person. 6 months in, you bought your first animals. You did everything right off the bat, and it was all coming to light. Like it was all about to it was all going to come to head. It was about to all be fruition. And you lost them all. And so like, I remember seeing your wife's post, and like they said they had to like take a break. They had to, go essentially decompress because it's hard. You do have an emotional tie to this, not only because you have a financial tie to it, your family tied to it, and your future retirement. As the leader of the household, how did you handle that as far as your wife, your kids, your emotions, trying to be strong, but trying to show vulnerability to them? But how can you walk me through what that like Memorial Day looked like for y'all?
Yeah. So the wife, one of my sons came with her, kind of everything is done, if you will. We've done what we can do. Y'all go ahead and go. I've got to wait. Excuse me. I don't know what I was waiting for. It was raining by this time. It's damn near dark. I've got all the deer in the bed of my truck now. I've already talked to the game wardens, kind of got a plan. I just sat there. I had the shop door open and was just watching it rain for about 30 minutes. It's like, man, like, is this real? Like, did I really show up this morning to dead deer? And, so it's hard to say the feeling wise, because I don't know if I really had any. Like, this is probably the second time that I've probably shed a tear over it, because I've tried to still, it'd be a man. Try to stay strong as I can. I mean, and all of it too, they're still animals. Like they're not, yeah, we're deer breeders. And at the end of the day, and I've explained this to a lot of people that are, they want to bark on, oh, you're just growing big deer. Yeah, no shit. But at the end of the day, they're going to end up on somebody's wall and in somebody's freezer.
Right.
But they're still animals. I still went out there every day and we fed them. I could finally get within 10 feet of them, 15 feet of them. They'd come around and it's like those little breakthroughs you get when you have animals at your facility and they're finally not crazy.
Right.
And so for it to be gone and just, driving and having to do that, it didn't feel real. I was like, man, is this really, is this what it's like? Like, and I've heard from people like, you're going to lose deer in the industry. And I get it. Not every deer is going to live. They're just not. And if you're fortunate enough for all your deer to live, you'll probably still be put on lockdown and have to retest your whole herd anyway. But, deer are going to die. But they're still animals. You still, if you're a decent human being, I'd like to think, you have a connection to them. And I did. I was like, man, these are my first ones. I got them here. We did it. We're right here. And then in the blink of an eye, you're not there. And then, but I still hadn't figured out a way to get the bills to not come in yet when I'm not working. Somebody ever figures that out, let me know. I need that. So there really was no time. And all credit to my wife. Because I truly, at that moment, I could have pulled the pin on it. Hey, pull the fences up. I don't give a damn. They're still new. Roll that shit up. We'll sell the land, pay everything back that we owe. It's worth it now. And I'll just keep being a crane operator the rest of my life. I guess that's what God wants me to do. And she was just, no, we're not doing that. We've put too much time. We put too much effort. There's too many people also, like I was telling you earlier, there's too many people that have believed in me doing this to quit, to be a quitter. Whether it be financially, all that, I feel like not only letting down my sons and my wife with the effort and the time, I've put all this time in, I've put all this effort to just give up on it when I'm right here at the doorstep. And all the credit to her. She was like, no, we'll figure it out. We'll come up with something. And then the first fallow buck was born. It's like, all right, there's that. I called Brown. Oh, sorry. Let me take a step back for a second. I had to call Jade. And those deer, they didn't all belong to me.
Right.
And you want to talk about gut wrenching to have to call. And that was always a fear of mine. It was because I didn't want to be the guy that, oh, welcome to the deer business. Sorry about all your deer. That's chicken shit to me. That's a chicken shit way to do business. And I've heard so many people say it, and I get it. That's how it goes. I just didn't want to be that. And here I am, having to call this man, hey, you trusted me, and I failed you. And to his credit, you're good with me. You don't worry about it. I have no doubt that you did your best. We're still friends. Don't sweat it. Which made me feel even worse. Because he was gracious to me, and I let him down, or I think I did, because I didn't want to be that guy. I didn't want to be the one that, oh man, sorry about your deer. Better luck next time. Because I've gotten text messages from deer that I've had at other people's places. Welcome to the deer business. I didn't want to be that. And so I had to call him and everything you would expect from him. No harm, no foul. You did your best. I don't think I did, but he was very gracious and it was cool. And so that made me feel better. All right. And I didn't, because at the end of the day, he's my friend. Hell, he invited me, he called me on a Sunday. He's like, hey man, I got this management buck. Man, if you want to come hunt one. Well, not really. He said, well man, you want to bring one of your sons? You know what? Maybe I will come hunt it. I don't need a 15-year-old killing a 200 plus whitetail. And then I've got, right. Then I'll have to pay for another one. And so I was like, you know what? I'll come. Go there. And I was like, man, look, we don't even have to do this. I was like, man, we can just ride around the ranch and have a good time and I'll be happy. He's like, no, we'll do that. Okay. And we did. And I killed a big deer and I was great for it. I'm over the moon appreciative of that, which made what happened. Now I feel even guiltier. You know, he's done me a solid of a deer I would never be able to afford. Maybe one day. And then here I am having to call this man. I lost your deer. Like, I'm sorry. Called Jalen. I called it as well and apologized to Jalen for it. And he was, of course, the same way. Very gracious, very understanding. And then, like I said, the wife was like, no, we're not going to give up on this. We're right here. We've got Fowler. The axes are about to be delivered. Like, and then I called Brown. It's like, look, you don't have to, but would you be interested in selling me your last 4 does? And she's like, I'll call you back. Talk to BJ. We absolutely will sell you our last 4. Cool. And so here we are. That's the tragedy that went on with it.
Yeah. So I know we kind of discussed, and I guess I'll put you on the spot and ask, but for people listening to this, you know, they may have been in your position not knowing what does this cost. Are you comfortable sharing even a roundabout number of what you've put into this so far financially?
Sure. I mean, because it's real. I mean, it's a real thing. I mean, it's real emotion. It's real numbers. It's not, you know, realistically, after selling our home and other things, take the land out of the equation.
Right.
I'm probably about $400,000 into this. Yeah. Like, that's why when I make the joke to keep from crying, anybody wants to see a $200,000 cooler? Like, I'm not kidding. For the price of whitetail, for what embryos cost, what fawns cost, raising them, feed. Lord knows they're not making feed any cheaper than they used to. It all costs money. And so when I say it was a $200,000 cooler, that's legit. I think it's legit.
Oh, for sure.
But yeah, I mean, I'm probably $400,000 in this, and taking the land, which is not cheap. Take the land completely.
Doesn't very easily double it.
Yeah. So take the land out of the equation that I still have to pay for. And that's been the kicker with all this is like, all right, how do we start over? How do we, because I love whitetail. Like, I can't give up on it. Like, I'm just not. Like, I think they're great. They're beautiful. I mean, just everything about them strikes me. And I can't help it.
Right.
I know I won't say his name, but one of the very first people I talked to on the phone, first thing he said to me was, man, you don't want to be a deer breeder. Well, why not? Oh, with CWD and regulations. Okay, cool. But I still want to be a deer breeder. And I've heard, and I get it. Like, we can get into the rules, the regulations. That's another thing that when I say you know what you don't know, even people that I was going to get my facility built, and he's like, oh, you just have to have shade, just got to have water. Cool. I got that. Texas Park emails back. No, you don't. You have to have continuous water. So, well, I didn't have a well dug. I was like, man, I got 500-gallon water totes on a trailer, and I've got access to water, and we'll go and we'll fill them up until we can get ready to put a well in, and we'll trench it, and, you know, we'll get that going. So, you know, drilling wells aren't cheap. You know, you're fit, depending on where you live.
Right. In
our area, you mean you're 15,000.
Yeah, minimum.
Minimum, you know, you get to South Texas and other places, it's going to skyrocket.
Right.
But, well, that really wasn't, it was in the budget, but not
yet.
Not yet. And so now it's, well, if you want, now I've got pregnant does at Brown. I need to meet that deadline. I got to get them out of there so we can move them before it's too late. I don't want them fawning out there. Hindsight now, I wish they would have fawned out there, but that's here nor there. So I'm in a rush now. Well, Texas Parks got to have continuous water. Well, shit. So now we're rushing to get a well dug in 2 days because I'm getting to this deadline. We're out there I'm going to rent trenchers. I'm trenching lines. We're getting water lines dug. I've already got Texas Park scheduled. Oh, well, they have to come inspect your facility. Okay. So now they're coming. So now I've got their blessing. Send everything in. They kick it back. For what? Well, it shows that you have 15 acres. That's what I have. But you only have the first 6 pinned. Well, yeah. Well, on the drawing, it shows you have 15. So that means you have to have all 15 double fenced and pinned. Well, Well, the website didn't say that. The website just said, how much acreage do you have? That's all it says. And I'm not banging on Texas parks. It's just what it says.
I will. I'll bang on.
All right. No, I get it. Well, I mean, it's a crock of shit. I get it. But that's just what it said. So for somebody that doesn't know, and that's it. I've explained to a lot of people, how do I put it? What's the right word? I'm not as mad at them as a lot of people have every right to be.
Right.
Because I haven't dealt with them. They haven't tried to put me out of business and all the things that a lot of people are dealing with. And it sucks bad. And I get it. Now that I'm in it, I get it. But for me, I look at it as if I want to play this game,
you got to be cordial.
I'm going to play by those rules. Otherwise, you don't get to play the game.
Well, let me ask that. So these rules seem to be changing daily. And so as a new deer breeder, what rules and you had to take tests,
yes,
which I didn't think was the thing. But can you kind of walk through what these rules were and how that also may have prolonged you of getting to being a deer breeder?
Sure. So you have to apply, for your breeder's permit. Can't do anything until you apply. Well, if you don't have a facility, there's no sense in applying because they have to come inspect. You have to be double fenced.
Well, even the application part is nonsense because why would you put that money in there if you're not going to get approved?
Well, that's what we made the joke about the water. What do you think? I'm going to spend all this money and I'm not going to water them? Like I'm not going to feed them? But it states, and you're right. We had to and because Shelby is on Shelby is on there because you have to also, anybody that can sign a breeder permit has to be registered as part of your facility. So we literally got a 4-page test each that were different of rules and regulations. I don't know if you've ever tried to go find the rules and regulations on Texas Parks and Wildlife. That shit might as well have been in Braille because subchapter 6, part 66-24 doesn't necessarily mean it's under that one. And so to find these rules was tough. Naturally, we got them wrong. So now they send it back. You have to redo it. And you also now have to go in, write the right answer, and write where you found it.
It's because they're trying to find it because they don't even know where the hell to find it.
I believe it. I don't know. I mean, so that's the start of it. And so pay the money. I submitted everything. Like I said, I own 15.63 acres. This says nothing about the drawing. I mean, I already knew because people had told me you got to send them a pin layout. Well, I sent my pin layout, but on their end, well, it shows here you got 15.5 acres. Well, the website didn't say that. So here we are. So I redraw that. All while I still got pregnant deer, I'm trying to get here before this window. We get it redrawn. Send them pictures. I've got shade. I've got water troughs. It's not good enough. Has to be continuous water. Great. Now we're digging a well. Still raining, I might add. Get the well dug in 2 days. My man come and smashed it out. Got me a well dug. Now I'm going to Sunbelt Rentals, getting the walk behind trencher. We're trenching. Fast forward, we've got water. Great. And that's when Texas Park, the game wardens came out and showed me that my pin layout didn't match what they have on file. So now I've got to redraw everything, get it submitted. Then the test comes in. We do the test. And then finally get the breeder permit. But reading those rules, like it might as well be in Braille. Like I didn't know until Dayton and Wade told me, oh, you have to be certified to do that and the right stuff. Where the hell's that at? I'm sure it's in the rules somewhere, but there's no, like I said, that's why I go back to what we talk about. There's no guide to this.
Right.
Like, and the other part of it is I don't want to bother people. Like I don't want to call all these guys. I mean, they have lives, they have jobs, they got ranches to run. Talking to little old me is arguably the least thing they're worried about. But when you don't know, got to get the information from somewhere.
Right.
Because finding it in their rule book is rough. But it also, like we said, or I said, you want to play the game, you're going to have to follow their rules, whether you like them or not.
For nearly 60 years, the Exotic Wildlife Association has united ranchers, breeders, conservationists, and the wildlife professionals committed to protecting exotic wildlife and preserving the exotic wildlife industry. EWA membership gives you a strong voice in legislative advocacy, valuable industry connections, educational resources, and access to programs that support wildlife conservation and responsible stewardship. Join a community dedicated to the future of the exotic wildlife. Learn more and become a member today at myewa.org. No matter if you're trying to rebuild your current website that sucks, or if you're starting from the ground up, Droptine Studios would love to give you a free estimate on what your new website build could be with us. Go to Droptine Studios today, and you can see other websites that we build for other clients. We look forward to talking to you soon about your new website. I think last time maybe it was when we talked at Crawfest or something, but going through the rules, my first thought was, because they're so hard to find, they're so hard to follow the way that they have them, and they're so convoluted. I thought about having let's just say a panel of people up here, and we read and find every single rule. It'd be a 5-hour podcast, but
you charge the batteries.
Yeah. Well, I'd also have to pay the people because they don't want to do that.
No.
But go through and talk section by section, line by line, and just going through all the probable causes of what could go wrong or what could go right, and why do you have to do this, and what is double fenced exactly, and you have to submit your entire pin sheet, not your entire ranch, and everything else. And so it's just now again, that may be 5 days, not 5 hours, but there's nothing out there and you would think a government funded agency has the money to provide educational tools that are easily acceptable or easily accessible.
You would think. It's we make the joke all the time at the plant, whether these plant guys and we're doing something, we're if it makes sense, and that's a great idea, but because it makes sense, we're not going to do it. We're going to do it this way. Now, I kept the test. You sent it to me. I kept it. That way, if anybody has any questions, I'll be happy. I had a guy from up north give me a call, message me on Facebook. I was like, oh, okay, cool. He's like, man, do you have time? We can talk. I'd like to ask you some questions about becoming a deer breeder. Hell yes, I have time. We can talk. I'll talk to you ad nauseum about being a deer breeder because I love it so much. I believe, in my opinion, there has to be more people like me that want to be a deer breeder if you want this to survive. Because, and it's just me thinking out loud, I would think that because of the rules, because of the regulations, a lot of these guys that have money that want to high fence and all, it's 10 times easier to do exotics. I could have packed one up and brought it with me and had it right here. Nobody cares. And so it's easier for those guys that they don't want to deal with the headache of being a deer breeder, a whitetail breeder, because it's a headache. There's no doubt. And so there has to be more people like me that are willing to put things on the line, put your retirement and cashing out your 401, whatever you did, whatever you have to do. There would have to be more people like me for this to survive. I just don't see people that are already successful. Man, I'm good. I don't need to deal with that dumb shit. So, and that's why I want to be helpful for people that are like me. And I want to grow big deer. I want these, what I consider now, my peers in the industry, be like, man, he did it a hard way, but he did it. And so that's, it's kind of where I'm at with it is, and turn it back now.
So I think you've answered my question already, but as a new deer breeder who's gone through the headache, you've lost all your deer. Are you still going to be a whitetail breeder?
Hell yes.
That's what I'd love to hear.
Hell yeah. Like I said, all credit to my wife and my parents. My parents have been great. They showed up the next morning with tractors and culverts and stuff. And my mom is in her 70s, I think. I don't even know how old mom is, but she'll go can to can't with me because she's retired. She's a retired coach and retired teacher. And she'll go can to can't. If I say be there at 7, I could call her right now. I need you at the farm tomorrow. Okay. She'll be there and even if it's just to hand me shovels and stuff, she'll do it. Then they were there the next day. And like I said, with my wife, she works from home. She takes her lunch break, goes to the farm, checks on things, goes home, deals with the kids, 2 in high school, 1 in elementary school. She's busy. And she still takes time to go and help to keep this dream alive. And without them, I can't say I would have pulled the pin on it, but I guarantee you I would have thought a whole lot harder about it than I did. But yeah, I'm not giving this up. I would feel like too much. I would have let, like I said, I don't think I'm anybody in the industry. I'd like to think people like me for who I am and the road I'm going down. But I also feel like I would let Chris down for all the times that he helped me and helped me design my facility. Like it would almost be like he did all that shit for nothing if I just decided to pull the pin on it. All the calls with Catlin and the things that I'm trying to do with Hatata, all the things that MVP has done for me, like I would have just wasted all those guys' time. And I don't want to be that guy. Like, it still may not work. Hell, I don't know. I may run out of money for all I know.
Right.
But at least I can say I fought it tooth and nail and I gave it hell till the end. And the good Lord just didn't want it to work, and that's what it'll be. But yeah, I ain't getting out of it.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. And then, so you also mentioned you have fallow.
Mm-hmm.
So are you only going to do whitetail and fallow, or what all are you going to breed?
So I have access as well.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So I'm partners on Home Run with MVP and Brett at BLC. He is actually at my facility. That was part of the deal with this coming up because I had pin space. They were, hey, well, what if we send Home Run and all of our does just, to be bred by Home Run? Well, when I agreed to that, I didn't have this problem. And then literally a week after Apocalypse, here comes our partner breeder buck and all these does. I'm just like, I already don't have any hair. Like I don't need anything else to worry about. And so now I've got cameras up. I can check. I've got wire going up for, I bought the 4-jolt. Like I was making the joke, I bought the 4-jolt that keeps cows and horses in. Pray to God nothing touches that wire because they're not coming back for a second jolt of that. But yeah, so I have access that we're partners on. I've got some stuff working with Chris on some of these Home Run does and Aggie and his deer. We're gonna do some things with my deer.
Right.
I actually have stuff at Damn Wild at Jake's place. We kind of missed the window to get them here. So once those drop, I'll go pick those up. And I like fallow. I do. I think they're beautiful. I mean, there's some beautiful animals, and they are way easier. And the rules, there are no rules. I mean, we can just be honest with ourselves.
Right.
And so, and people are like Nash and them are doing good things. Like they're, with the embryo transferring and things that I know people are starting to do to mirror whitetail, if you will, as far as the breeding goes. And it's exciting. And I am excited about it. Now, I'm not as excited about it as whitetail, but I can't help it. But I am. I mean, I'll have to show you the picture of it that one of my sons took of that first fallow. It was just it was beautiful. And it helped having those fallow drop. And I'll have another one drop this weekend probably. It helped see life back on the farm because there were some days, man, I'd go out there just to work because I needed to. Like I had to got to work every day. Got to keep pushing, moving forward. Like I said, I get up at 3:30 in the morning. I make sure all the eyeballs, make sure everybody's there. I drive an hour and a half to work. I work for 10 hours. Takes me 2 hours to get home. I drive straight to the farm. I feed, water, make sure nothing's out of whack. I get in my camper and I go to bed and I get up and do it all over again.
You got to want it.
That's it. Got to want it. Ain't nobody going to do it for me.
Right. So that was the other thing that from a, I guess, personal standpoint, but even what I'm trying to do with growing my company, but is how are you managing working essentially 84 hours a week at your day job and then probably another 84 hours a week at the deer farm? How are you managing work, life, dad, husband balance?
As much help as I can. Like I said, my parents are great. God love my mom. She knows I'm at work. She'll text me, update on the farm? I'm at work. I ain't got to update. Well, do you want me to go? No, I don't want you to go. Like, relax. It's tough. I've doing what I do for a living. You give up your free, and it's with any business, even business owner. And I have no doubt that you give up your free time to hopefully have it down the road to build something your kids will be proud of, that they can, whether they take it over or it's just a financial avenue for them to do something else. You're giving up your free time to build something. Well, shit, I've given up my free time for the last 17 years to build somebody else's dream. So if I can get up at 4 o'clock every morning to build somebody else's dream, I can get up at 3:30 to build mine, damn it. And I feel like my sons understand because I've been gone and I've worked so much to provide a life for them that I didn't grow. Like I was telling you earlier, like, you know, my parents were divorced. Now him and my stepdad been married for like 20 years, something like that. They're great. But we grew up divorced. My parents grew up divorced. My mom was a teacher and a coach when teachers made like what, 18 grand a year. You know, we would eat the brown bag special, you know, 2 burgers, 2 fries, 2 drinks for $5.99 if you're old enough to remember that. And whatever my older brother didn't eat and I didn't eat, that's what my mom would eat. So I've always taken the adage that, you know, like I said, you got to want it. And I'm willing to work for what I want. I'm not scared of it at all. It's fine. I've done it my whole life. And I hope as part of it that my sons understand that the world's not fair. It sucks most of the time. Nobody's going to give you anything. Nobody's going to hand you anything. I mean, I don't have nothing to hand them anyway. All I can hand you is a strong back and a weak mind. And if you're willing to work for it and you put enough good juju out there, most of the time good things will happen. And so that's what I try to explain to them when I am gone, that like I'm gone for a reason. Like I'm doing this for a reason. You don't have to be, if it works, you don't have to be a deer breeder, but it's an avenue and hopefully a financial avenue for you to do what you do want.
Right.
And luckily they're 15. Like the twins are. The little one's going to be a deer breeder. Like if I told him, hey, look, you don't have to go to school no more. We're going to the farm. I can't get him to go to school at 6 a.m, but if you want to go hunting or go to the farm at 4:30, my man's wide awake. But it's tough. It messes with you because it's like, am I doing the right thing as a parent, as a husband, as a father? Like, is the neglect too much? Like, did I not do it? And I try. Like, I make sure that when he's got, because one of them is like super good in band. Like he's already basically I don't know enough about band to speak intelligently on it, but he's first chair as a sophomore. He's like, great. I try to make sure I make all his events. The other one is big into music, which warms my heart. And so I make sure that, you know, we talk about music. The little one loves to hunt. And so I try to make sure that I take as much time as I can. Do I get it right all the time? Hell no. Like I know that I don't get it right. And I know that I miss a lot of things, but I hope that they see it as they get older, that they can look back and understand that like it was for a greater good. And that was also one of my downfalls, I think personally, is because I am willing to go can to can't with work. I've always looked at it as me providing a life for them that I didn't grow up with, that was showing them how much I cared and how much, you know, I love them. And as I've gotten older and I've learned, that's, you know, I might be the only one that sees it that way. You know, they're still kids. My wife still needs to see me, and I still make sure that even when I'm out of town, like when I get to come home, I bring her flowers. So it's a real delicate balance. It's tough. As you know, as a business owner, like it's not always fair. It's not always fun. But if you want it, you try to find a way to make it work as best you can.
Right. Yeah, that's what how you were saying, the people either build someone else's dream or do this, but most of the other people aren't afraid, or they're afraid to work.
Yeah.
Like everyone says they don't want to work the 8 to 5 or do this, but they're not willing to do the extra work, which is fine. But that's the part. I mean, even for me, this was Monday, the 1st was our 7-year anniversary, but I've been gone for 4 days. I was working on our anniversary, and I asked her beforehand if I could, but that was the thing, is I was like, I have to miss anniversaries. I have to miss birthdays. I have to miss all these things and milestones because I'm trying to build a dream. And it sucks. And we talked about it upstairs, I've missed birthdays. I've missed, all these things from bachelor parties. As I've grown up over the past 15 years trying to do this from a young age, it's like I had to give up a lot of stuff a lot of young people aren't willing to give up.
Yep.
So it sucks. But everyone has to, what do they say, like you have to embrace the suck. Like like you said about your kids earlier, or telling your kids, is like, life isn't fair most of the time.
Mm-mm.
So get over it and just keep moving on. Like, you just have to be able to embrace the suck.
You definitely have to embrace the suck.
Yeah.
And especially when there's, like, we talk about, like, with this whole purpose of this is there is no roadmap. It's like, man, every corner is a new corner. Like, in all of that tragedy that happened, like, every new conversation was something I didn't know. And it's like, damn, what else don't I know? And there's a ton. I have no doubt as this moves forward, but also learn every day. I've learned what not to do. I've learned this, I've learned that. And you just build on it. And like I said, it was an expensive lesson, unfortunately, very expensive lesson, but I learned it.
Yeah. And
we'll do everything we can to keep moving forward. Like, we're getting ready to build out the inside of the AI facility. I went ahead and bought another bigger camper. Like, so this summer, she's actually going to stay, because I wanted to just, like, you know what, we'll just buy a bigger camper. Bought a bigger one. And so I'll keep my small one when I have to travel for work, because I still got to work. Like, I'm getting ready to go on 7 days a week for the next probably 2 months, and I won't be home. So she's literally going to take her office, put it in the fifth wheel, and live at the farm and work from there every day off of Wi-Fi. So she can continue to monitor deer, because at that point, I'll be on night shift. So I literally won't be able to come home. So she's going to move to the farm and work from home in the camper to keep the dream going, because that's just the only logistical way this can happen.
Right. Yeah. And I think even the part of talking about, because I think people can have the work and grit as far as waking up early, like you said, the can to can't and everything there. But even to tie it back to, like, your wife and your kids and your personal life, like, you have to have the will and the give a shit to make sure you buy flowers, to take your kids hunting, to make sure you find out what music and they're doing, what music are they learning to play, being at First Chair, being at their recitals, being at all these things. And I think that's what, and I've told everyone here at my company, I was like, hey, y'all are helping me see my kids now. If you're still here when you have kids, I won't forget that. Yeah. But, like, you'll be an adult, do your job, but don't miss that recital. Don't miss those certain things. I think that's the hardest part about having a workplace that allows that. But because, like, when you're working 7 days, night shifts, you physically can't.
And to touch on that, you're right, because I had to learn, especially with my job, man. Even though I work for a good company and those guys, my bosses are good to me. I didn't tell them what I was doing today, but let's tell them I was dealing with deer stuff, and then they know, because they know what happened. And I just told them I was dealing with deer stuff. But the industry that I'm in, man, I'm just a number. And I had to learn, like, it's okay to miss work. Like, I'm not going to get fired. People miss work all the time. Like, it's okay. And I had to learn that, because in my head, me providing financially should have been enough. And I had to learn that that's not real. It's not the case. It is to an extent, but they still want to see you. They still want to be there. And so that's where we had to learn, all right, if we're going to do this, how logistically are we going to make it work for everybody?
Right.
And that's where having a plan. When we first did this, I made the joke, and it really wasn't a joke. It was just a saying that I've always it's always stuck with me, that an idea without a plan is nothing but a dream. And so, all right, how are we going to do this? Let's come up with a plan and stick to it as best you can when you don't, there's still no roadmap. I still don't know what to do, but at least we have some kind of plan. Now that plan may change some, but we've come up with a plan and just trying to stick to it.
Yeah. Yeah. And because even after taking a hit like that, if you don't have a plan and you don't have a vision of where you're going, it's like you mentioned before, it's very easy to quit.
Yeah.
And so having that plan takes that dream to the next step. So what is your next step? Are you going to buy more whitetail, or are you just going to start with the 4 and do recips, or how are you going to get more whitetail in your pens?
Definitely doing the 4 recips. I'm actively looking. I'm hoping to find some more, and I've got some feelers out there for some people that are looking to get out of it, because that's the trick with the way I want to do it. Just because of all the rules, you want to take yourself out of the trace program. So once I take Brown's last 4, they're no longer a whitetail breeder. So they can't do anything to affect me. And so it's that same concept. It's like, all right, let's hopefully, I've got enough embryos left that I can fill those 4. I got 8 embryos left. I can fill those 4 and we can do that. But I'm going to be greedy about it because I want to. I want to hopefully find a way to get some more recips. I hope to be able to pay Jade back. Maybe not financially, but hey, I've taken the measures. Things are situated. If you want to trust to do some more embryos and do our original plan, it's here for you if you want it. You know, I want to do that. And so I hope to find more recips and do more embryos. That's what's happening right now. Yeah. I got Fowler being born. Access are there. We're working on that as it moves forward. But it's actively finding more recips. And the biggest for us is finding the financial. And this is my wife. She's like, yeah, I hear you, but we also have to pay for that.
Right.
I'm like, damn it. Hate it when she's right.
Well, she's an accountant.
Yes. Yeah. I'll make the joke whether we go out there. I'm like, I was told there'd be no math on this job, but that's her job.
Yeah.
So she reels me in, but if the 4 is all we can do, then hey, we were fortunate to get those 4. We'll put the embryos in them that we still have in the tank, and we're gonna keep pushing forward.
Yeah.
Like I have come way too far, and I've sold this dream to a lot of people, and said it may fail. Hell, I don't know. I may run out of money. Shit, I don't know. It's a real possibility, but at least at the end of the day, everybody that's been involved in it will know that I gave it hell.
Yeah.
And that I tried my damnedest, even in the face of what happened, like that we didn't give up and try to do right by everybody that's believed in it.
So for someone that's listening to the podcast and say they're considering getting into deer breeding or they're a brand new deer breeder, what advice would you give them?
Have a financial plan. Don't get too excited. Because if you truly love this, I mean, if you love, like, and it's with any line of work, if you love, you're trying to, I want to do this for the rest of my life. And I have no doubt that whatever you're doing, it's easy to get excited about it. Don't get overexcited. Try to stay in your lane and have a plan. Like, it may not be the best plan and it may not even be right, but at least it's something, because it's very easy. And I'm sure you know this, starting a business, it's very easy just to throw money at shit and hope it works. And that's a bad idea. I mean, you've got to have some kind of a realistic plan. And it's the little things that got me that we didn't know. You know, take the land and I knew there was going to be fences. I knew the land. I knew there was at some point going to be a well. I knew we were going to have electricity, but it's the dart guns, it's the medicines, it's the ear tags that now, especially for whitetail, have to be permanently printed. Can't be hand drawn anymore for Texas Parks or whitetail. Once you submit that and they give you back your numbers, they have to be permanently printed on the tag. That's another cost. Filing cabinets, tattoo guns, ear guns, DNA guns, microchips. If you want to do that, it's not a requirement, but if you want to, you might, and everybody does it, and I understand why, and I have it. Filing cabinets, clipboards, all the medicines, paper towels, just all the things that you don't think about that will nickel and dime you to death.
Animal crackers, peanuts, corn, protein, feeders,
all that. And feed troughs, water troughs. Do you want to have the expensive ones that are self-dump and all that? That's great. But I got Tractor Supply ones. I drilled a hole in the bottom of them. And that's the other thing. So you have to take into account who's working your farm. Are you doing it every day? Is your wife doing it every day? Well, I know there's the times where I can't do it every day. So I literally took my water troughs, drilled a hole in them, put a ball valve on it, and ran a hose down it. So that way my wife can literally reach into the pen, turn the ball valve, drain the trough, turn the water hose on, and it fills it right back up. That way she doesn't have to go into the pen and dump water troughs once a day, whatever. It's you have to take into account who's doing your facility, who's working it, and try to build towards that, because I could build it how I would work it, but I'm stronger than they are. They couldn't do the things that I do. So, those are things you have to take into account. And it's with anything, changes cost money. So you have to make sure that whatever your plan is, try to stick to it and make it realistic. And that's because it's easy, man. You start going to shows and, you get a drink or two in you and, man, that's a damn good deal on that Axis right there. Man, that fella's, yeah. And then all of a sudden, that $8,000 wasn't in the budget. But here you are. You just bought yourself a fallow buck. And so you have to not get caught up in, and it's, you've been to the shows, man. It's easy. Drinks start flying, money starts flying. You're like, well, maybe if we just did this, we could afford that. And hey, we'll get that far ahead. And
that's why they have an open bar.
Fact. and then all of a sudden you start getting to the budget, like, well, I guess we're going to have to make that up somewhere.
Right.
Because, and it's like I said, it's not getting ahead of yourself is a real big one. Have a real plan. Try to have a real budget and talk to people. Talk to people that want to talk to you. I have a 2-call policy. I'll call you twice. If you're too busy, and that's cool, that's on you. If you're too busy to call me back or shoot me a text or any of that, after the second call, I'm good. Like I did, and I'm not going to bother people in that way. I'm not going to beg people to take my money. It may not be a lot of money, but to me, it's a lot. And I'm not going to beg them to take it, which I'm sure you wouldn't either. You're not going to go beg some ranch. Hey man, I'll cut you a deal if you let me do a shoot. No.
Right. Yeah. I don't need to practice anymore.
No. You're not going to beg people to take your money. And I'm the same way. Like, and I get it. People are busy, and most people that I deal with, they are busy, but they'll at minimum shoot me a text. Hey bro, 2 days, call you back. Hey, cool. I mean, I'm good with a kiss my ass. Like, I don't want to talk to you. That's great. I'm good with that too. But you got a 2-call policy for me. And after that, I mean, and I don't dislike anybody. I just, like I said, I'm just not going to beg somebody to take money. I mean, obviously I dealt with that with my building guy. Like, hey man, I mean, I didn't beat you up over the price. And that's another thing you have to think about was shops, facilities, concrete, drainage. Are you going to have an AI facility? Are you going to have an outdoor facility? I mean, you got chutes, tunnels, air conditioner, all that you don't think about. And then every year with our economy, prices go up.
Right.
I dropped my first set of fences, pins, all that was, $60,000. And now I'm getting prices to add on. I'm like, I can't get last year's price. Like man, metal goes up, and I get it. So you also have to revisit your budget, because what it costs today, probably not going to cost that in 6 months. And that's with everything. I mean, nothing's affordable anymore.
Right.
Nothing.
Yeah, because that's one of the setbacks is cost going up and everything else, and people want the cost of deer to go down, which that's not how it works. But if it seems like every success story, there's always some type of setback, and we just kind of talked about yours as you got started. But if there's someone else listening that they're going through a setback right now, which could be a plethora of things, what would be your word of encouragement to them as they're going through their personal setback?
I would say there's 2 things. One is, like we talked about, how bad do you want it? And if you can look at yourself and I want it, like I want it that bad, then you'll find a way. There's always a way. It may, like I said, you may have to embrace the suck, and it's not going to be easy. Like, I don't enjoy getting up at 3:30 in the morning. I really don't. But I want it bad enough. And fortunately, having a support system that knows how bad I want it, they've found a way to want it too. So it's look at yourself and say, how bad do you really want it? Because it's easy. Oh, I could have pulled the pin in a heartbeat, but I want it. I want it bad enough. And so it's, once you figure out that, just remember, there's always a way.
Yeah.
It may not be easy. It may not be fun. It may piss people off, everything under the sun. I don't know, whatever their situation might be, but there is always a way. It's that old adage, where there's a will, there's a way. It's true. It's I get people ask me, oh man, how far did that set you back? I don't know, about a year, another year. Because being a deer, that's the other part of it. When we talk about the deer breeding part of it. And it's even with exotics. You have to carry this cost for a minimum of 2 years. It's money going out. Because until you know what these animals are, you can't sell them. I mean, you could, but what if you just sold the next stud for dirt cheap because you needed the money?
Yep.
And then the person you sold them to is reaping the benefits because you gave it away. So that's part of the financial planning was, can you survive for a minimum of 2 years? Maybe more, but the minimum is 2. That you've got to be able to financially eat this money and let it go out and take the loss and take the loss and take the loss until, God willing, here we go. And that's what made this so unbelievably tough was, it was like, and it wasn't, we weren't going to be able to sell these fawns. That wasn't the point.
Right.
It was like, man, we've done all this planning, 2 years. Now we're still out time wise. It's like, man, we were right there. We were about to see them. Like, and for it just to go, and it's like, all right, I guess we're starting over. It's either that or I'll keep being a crane operator.
Right.
And I enjoy what I do. I don't really like my job, but I love what I do for a living because I'm a big kid. I get to run a crane. I get to play with giant toys. It's fine, but I want to be a breeder more.
Right.
And so it's, looking at yourself and figuring out what do you want to do more.
Are you going to name your first fallow buck something to remember this, like New Life or?
Hell no, because my wife will want to keep it. Every time something gets a name at my place, I have to fight to get rid of it.
Right.
But yes. So I've thought about that in my head because I'm my own worst enemy. You sit in this box, so let's just say this is actually not bad. So if you're sitting in a crane, it's, 3x5 box, and there's not always days that you have to work. And so you can literally sit there for 10 hours, 12 hours with nothing to do. And you get in your head, and yeah, I've come up with names. But yeah, I've thought about that, or even if it's, I don't know, maybe the first breeder buck, or if we get fortunate and we get one. But yeah, I've definitely thought about giving it some kind of cool name to commemorize this, because I don't want to forget it.
Right.
Because that would be a disservice, I think, to what happened, to everybody that's helped me and everybody that's continued to help me. Like, it would be very disrespectful to Wade, to Dayton, to Dr. Duckworth, who made phone calls and put me on group text that day to get other vets and other breeders to call me. Like, that would be disrespectful to those guys to forget what happened. And that's also why I don't want to quit, because like the looks on their faces, like it wasn't even their deer, and the looks on their faces to see it, I think would do a disservice to them helping me out the way they did. So, but yeah, I'd like to giving it a cool name. It's just got to be music though.
Right.
Some kind of cool metal name. I don't know, whether it be a song or something, but for sure.
Absolutely. And then we've been doing a new segment on the end of the podcast to where the guest before you leaves a question without knowing who the next guest is.
Uh-huh.
So one, be thinking of it, because we'll need you to leave a question. But
all right.
The last guest that we had asked the question to you: do you love Jesus?
Absolutely.
So
absolutely. And it's not that that's a tough answer, but with everything that went on, and my wife, and like I said, she's so much better as far as religion and church, and my in-laws and how great of people they are. And I struggle with, I don't make no bones about it, I struggle with religion because the things that I've seen in my life, like what just went on. I don't blame, you're not going to be a shithead. I'm not going to blame God for that. God didn't have the dogs come in and kill those deer. But it's just like, damn. Like, when can I catch a break? Not that that's a religious thing, but it makes you question a lot of things. Like, you got people that are absolute shitheads in the world that keep catching breaks like it's going out of style.
Right.
And it makes you question those things. But it's also part of it is like, I guess that's how you keep the faith. Maybe it helps.
Right.
Maybe it helps you. It's not fair. It sucks. But maybe that's the way, maybe it's God's way of like, all right, you learned your lesson. Now try it again not that it was the wrong way, but try it this way now. So
one of the ways I've heard it put is for believers, this is the closest we'll ever be to hell. And for non-believers, this is the closest they'll ever be to heaven. So if it seems like someone just got something good going, it's kind of like, well, sorry, that's all you got.
Yeah.
Because one day all of our problems are going to be solved and everything's going to be great and perfect.
It's truly not going to matter.
Right.
Like one day I'm not going to take any of this stuff with me.
Absolutely.
So, but I absolutely do. But like I said, there have been times where it's been tough.
Yeah.
Like I said, maybe I try to look at it that way. Maybe it was my lesson. It was him be like, all right, player, you think you got it?
Yeah.
It could be worse. And it could have been like, that was bad, but it could always be worse. And so it's all right.
How bad do you want it?
Yeah. You see the light now. So let's try it this way. And so.
Absolutely.
But that's how I would answer that.
Since 1967, the Exotic Wildlife Association has supported conservation, advocacy, and education for the exotic wildlife industry. EWA brings together ranchers, breeders, conservationists, hunters, and wildlife professionals who are working to protect the exotic wildlife and preserve the industry for the next generation. EWA members receive access to valuable resources, legislative support, networking, education, and of course the EWA registry. Learn more or become a member today at myewa.org and follow the Exotic Wildlife Association on Facebook. Spring Creek Outdoors is an all-inclusive habitat and wildlife management company that includes exotic and native animals, fisheries, lake designs, construction, wildlife surveys, including helicopters and thermal drones, wildlife captures, state-issued permits, and wildlife tax conversions all over Texas. They have seen what works and what doesn't work on hundreds of ranches and literally millions of acres. No matter what your management goals are, the team at Spring Creek Outdoors can help you reach them. So find more information at springcreekoutdoors.com. All right, so we've had questions from business, financial, whitetails, exotics, Jesus. But not knowing who our next guest is, do you have a question that you would like to ask them or have them answer, I should say?
So, and a lot of this is going to depend on their scenario or their situation, maybe not their scenario.
Watch the next episode to find out his question.
Well, is there anything you feel like we didn't cover or need to discuss?
I don't think so. I hope that people see it. They see the want to, and and I've tried, go to these shows, introduce yourself, man, sell the dream. And I hope people can see it. And if they want to get into it or they don't, or whatever, I hope they can see the man thing. There are things out there that if you're willing to work for it, like, things are worth it. You don't have to be a breeder. It doesn't matter, whatever you want to do. But at the end of the day, like, you have to try. Like, if you want to get something different out of life, what's what they say, the definition of insanity is keep doing the same things over and over and over and expecting a different result. Well, either put yourself out there and take a chance. Is it gonna suck? Will it work? Man, nobody knows. But at least at the end of the day, you tried. Because if you never try, you're never gonna get there. And so I hope that when people see this, that at minimum they look at it and go, all right, let's at least try it. And there's nothing's guaranteed. I mean, it was tough to sell our forever home, but at the end of the day, we tried.
Yeah, that's a big sacrifice.
Yep. We can at least look back and say we tried. I didn't sit back and when I'm an old gray-haired, well, bald at that point, gray-bearded old man running a crane. Oh man, I really wish we'd have followed through with that deer breeder thing or whatever they do. People that go to their 9 to 5, and they sit there like, man, there's got to be more to life than this, sitting at this cubicle. There is, but you have to try. Otherwise, there'll never be anything more to life than what you're doing. So I hope that when people see this, that they'll they'll understand where there's a will, there's a way, and you have to be willing to try. And you have to be willing to put yourself out there. I'm sure I didn't, like I told you, when I texted the other day, I'll probably be the first person to cry on your podcast. But, I'm willing to put myself out there for the greater good.
Well, and that's what I was going to say too, is I appreciate you coming on, being vulnerable. We were going to do this podcast beforehand, but then obviously you losing your deer and all these other things. I think it's good for people considering getting in the industry to also hear the losses, but also to hear the hope.
Sure.
So I appreciate you being vulnerable, and I appreciate you being open and honest about what's going on and finances and things like that. And so, because again, we don't want someone to get in without knowing the risks, but we also want them to know, like, hey, there still is light at the end of the tunnel. So we appreciate you getting up at 3 a.m., driving in to do the podcast.
Absolutely.
And, but yeah, thank you for your time, and thank you for doing what you're doing for the industry.
Oh man, like I said, I'm very blessed that you were even willing to have me on. I'm very appreciative of it. And man, everything y'all are doing is great.
I appreciate it, man.
Putting what y'all are doing, and you're giving the industry a new light, because there's such a stigma on, and when I went to Jade's, and it was so funny, there's such a stigma on like high fences and ranches and killing, whatever you're killing. And people are like, oh man, would you lead it out of a pen? Maybe, but what's it matter?
Right.
Like, who gives a shit? It's a sport. It's fun. It's memories. And like what y'all do, like you're documenting people's memories. And that's what that's what I love about it, is it's a version of the outdoors. Who gives a shit if you got a fence up? It's still hunting. It may not be your cup of tea for hunting, but it's still hunting. And like I said, what y'all do, the show, all the shows y'all go to, and all the documenting people's lives and their ranches, that stuff's great. That's what we need. Like, we need the industry itself and the outdoors, because the outdoors is under attack. I don't know if you've seen what's going on in Oregon. Like, they're trying to put a stop to it altogether. And the outdoors needs light. They need people that want to project that light. And man, what y'all do, and the amount of content, the things, the podcasts, all the shows y'all go to, man, it's good stuff too. So I applaud y'all for continuing to do that, because y'all are doing it the right way.
Well, I appreciate it, brother. I'm humbled by that, and we're trying to do the best we can with it, and trying to, like I said, I've been third generation in exotics, and if I still have questions, I know everyone else does. So we want to make sure that we're trying to give a voice and a reason for people to want it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, Jeff, thank you for your time. Thank you for being honest and open on the podcast. And if you are listening, make sure you please like and subscribe and comment. It sounds silly, but the way I heard it put the other day was, oh man, only 4 people commented on my post. But if 4 people came up to you and gave you a compliment that day, it would make you feel great. So it really does mean the world to me when people comment or share or whatever. This is a little dream that we're working on, and it's something that we're trying to make better. So if you're listening, please subscribe, please like it, please comment on it and share it. And if you have any questions or topics you want us to cover, just let us know. Thanks, Jeff.
Absolutely. Thank you.